So our first official look at Darkseid was given to us by Zack Snyder. Now this is only concept art, but it looks pretty good. You know, if they got close to this in the movie, I'd be fine with that. This is young Darkseid in his Uxas form before he gets the Omega beams. And, we definitely got robbed. We were going to see Darkseid go from a young conqueror to the Darkseid we all know. And, there was probably going to be a point where we were going to see him get his Omega beams. I wonder if that was going to be the New Gods movie originally. But, since they're taking so long to make that movie, they're probably changing it up entirely so that it doesn't connect to this Justice League film at all. But yeah, just another reminder from Zack Snyder of how bad Justice League was fucked over. If they actually followed through with the movie, it would have been a lot better. We would have had such a good build-up to Darkseid, and then the cliffhanger would have been the Justice League finally about to take on Darkseid, right? And for like a comic book fan like myself that's really into DC Comics, this would have been an orgasmic experience to see Darkseid in his young self, and then seeing the older Darkseid with the Omega beams and everything. We would have had at least a small character arc for Darkseid in the first Justice League movie ever. I might have had a heart attack in the theater. Maybe it's a good thing they never released this thing. Everything that we've seen from it, all the deleted scenes, all the photos Zack Snyder's released, all these concept art images, it's all 10,000 times better than what we got. If you're a DC fan, this movie is essentially your biggest wet dream, to steal a line from Kevin Smith, right? But we definitely know for a fact that there is a cut of this film. There's a certain cut of the film. Whether it's done or not is beside the point. They have a cut of the film. I want to see that version. I'd rather see an unfinished assembly cut than the theatrical cut. Any day. If WB was smart, they would just release it immediately on their streaming service. That way they could stop being haggled about it by us every day. And then they could start to move on. But apparently, we're not the only ones haggling Warner Brothers now. The co-writer of the Death of the Superman graphic novel came out and said he wanted to see the Snyder Cut. Death of the Superman, that little thing that was in BVS that, a lot of non-DC fans hated. Well, the co-writer of that very book comes out and he wants to see the Snyder Cut. Apparently, what Zack Snyder did in BVS didn't seem to bother him that much. And now he's wondering why Warner Brothers doesn't want to release this, which is only a good thing. Awareness of the Snyder Cut keeps growing with a bunch of Screen Rant articles lately. And now Comic Book Resource is also putting out more articles about the Darkseid image. And also the Wall Street Journal was talking about the Snyder Cut. I don't really care what they had to say because Wall Street are a bunch of pieces of shit. But the awareness is spreading more now than it did in the first year of the Snyder Cut, right? Because before Comic-Con last year, it was still very unknown, and a lot of people thought it was just a conspiracy. But now, almost 2 years later, we have mountains of evidence, undeniable proof. People like Jay Oliva keep voicing their support for it. People like Ray Porter are coming out and supporting the Snyder Cut now. You always had actors like Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa that always vocalized their support for the Snyder Cut, but now they're being joined by more people, and it's only a good thing. The more and more awareness that can be spread, the better. And as John Garza and I talked about on the Highball podcast, which check it out if you haven't already, but he started talking about how it doesn't make sense for Warner Brothers to wait to release this. Like 5-10 years from now, what would be the point of releasing the Snyder Cut? You have so much momentum right now. You have so much interest right now. Why not just release it this year or next year? Warner Brothers is all about marketing and making money. Well, if you want to maximize your profits, you want to strike while the iron's hot. And if you wait 10 years, no one's going to be wanting the Snyder Cut. No one's going to really care 10 years from now. It only benefits Warner Brothers to release this thing. And I know the fucking tired argument, and it shows that they made a mistake with Justice League. Well, nobody really cares, do they? But you have to think of that from a Warner Brothers perspective. Do they really care about how a small percentage of nerd fans are going to think of them? Or do they want to make money? Which one do they want more? And while everyone's still talking about it, and while it's still interesting people, why not just release it? Even if they make a small amount of money right now, the film will be on store shelves for years. It will always be available, and people will always be buying it. It took Watchmen almost 10 years to make back its money through home video sales. Releasing a Snyder Cut now isn't gonna make a shit ton of money, but over the span of like 10, 20 years, it will make a pretty penny for Warner Brothers. It'll be another thing they can add to their cash flow, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. One thing's for sure though, the Snyder Cut is not gonna lose money at all. Even if they invest money to finish the special effects, it's not gonna lose anything. Because over the span of the next 5, 10 years, people will be buying the shit out of the Snyder Cut. Word of mouth will spread. People will be like, have you seen this better version of Justice League? It is so much better than the theatrical cut. And that shit will spread, and people will be interested for years. Nerd culture will be talking about the Snyder Cut for years. Just release it. You have Zack Snyder posting images constantly. Now he's posting concept art. He can't keep this up forever. He's only got so many images, right? Before he shows us every frame of the movie. So just release it, Warner Brothers. Everybody's asking for it. You know, nobody asked for the Daredevil director's cut. Nobody asked for the Kingdom of Heaven director's cut. But everyone's asking for this director's cut. Do yourselves a favor and just release it. It's that simple. And that way, Warner Brothers can actually move on to other shit. I don't really care what they do, as long as I get my goddamn Snyder Cut. But yeah, that's it for now. Comment below. Let me know what you think of the Darkseid image. Let me know what you think about all these articles talking about the Snyder Cut. It seems like every other day, we have another article from another website popping out talking about the Snyder Cut. And the Snyder Cut is staying relevant, at least for the time being. And this is only a good thing. I don't really care who writes about the Snyder Cut, as long as it's being circulated and people are clicking on it and people are reading about it. That will build interest, and we will eventually get the Snyder Cut. But if Warner Bros. Was smart, they would release it as soon as possible and strike while the iron is hot. That's it for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
We're happy consumers. I'm a happy consumer. And you know, I'm concerned about what my children consume. I'd like to consume the barrel of a 12-gauge shotgun right now, if I could. Thank you, because I'm in hell.